Well, hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are looking at what honestly might just be the single most pivotal tech moment of the entire decade. We're breaking down the massive fallout from Google I/O 2026 and the absolute rapid escalation of the Silicon Valley AI arms race. What really stood out in the research is that we are witnessing a massive, totally cinematic paradigm shift. I mean, AI is fundamentally transforming right before our eyes, going from these reactive chatbots that just spit out text to proactive autonomous agents that literally do your work for you. So, grab a seat, get focused, and let's unravel exactly how the future of productivity was just totally rewritten. Okay, picture this. You're sitting at your desk in New York or Chicago or LA on a regular Monday morning. What if, instead of asking an AI to write a quick email draft for you to manually copy and paste, the AI had already read your inbox, drafted all the responses, updated your spreadsheets, and scheduled your follow-up meetings? And all of this happened while you were out grabbing your morning coffee? This isn't science fiction anymore. It is the absolute central high-stakes theme of what we're unpacking today. So let's dive right into this. To really understand the shift, we got to break down the core difference between old AI and new AI. Think of old AI like a really advanced calculator. You give it a prompt, you wait for the output, and then you manually have to carry that output to the very next step. It's essentially just a fancy search bar, right? But the new era of AI, specifically Agentic AI, is an entirely different beast. It's much more like hiring an actual employee. You don't feed it a prompt, you give it a goal. It figures out the steps, grabs the right tools, and just gets the job done completely autonomously. The absolute buzzword you need to know here, the word of the year really, is agentic. It means we're finally moving away from staring at a blank screen, desperately hoping to engineer the perfect text prompt. Instead, we're moving into an era where you basically have a digital executive assistant running in the background 24/7. These agentic AI systems are designed to autonomously monitor, plan, and execute incredibly complex multi-step workflows on your behalf. And the best part? They do it without needing you to hold their hand the whole time. To make this massively possible, Google basically had to completely overhaul their engine room. The sources point to three brand new foundational models that are powering this whole shift. First up is Gemini 3.5 Flash, which is this new powerhouse purpose-built for those incredibly fast day-to-day agentic tasks. Then there's Gemini Omni. This thing is an absolute beast that brilliantly combines deep logical reasoning with their brand new Veo 3.1 video generation model. And finally, we have the newly surfaced Gemini 3.2 Flash. This one has been stress-tested externally and shows just incredible leaps in creating precise vector graphics, complex coding, and even running interactive 3D simulations. Okay, so what does this actually look like in the real world? Well, the massive advantage Google has here is its deeply integrated ecosystem. Imagine telling Gemini Agent Mode, hey, plan my business trip to Barcelona, email my team, and build a presentation. Step 1, it reads your intent and drafts the email right in Gmail. Step 2, it browses the live web for research and automatically writes up a Google Doc. Step 3, it formats a full 5-slide presentation in Google Slides. And Step 4, it schedules the review meeting on your Google Calendar. Literally one single instruction cascades through the entire ecosystem, and you haven't even touched a single tap. Now, digging into the research, there's this highly classified internal agent mentioned in the materials named Remy, and the way it's described is just fascinating. It's currently in an internal testing phase, which they call dogfooding in the tech world, and Remy acts entirely proactively. It just monitors what matters to you and handles complex workflows in the background instead of just sitting there waiting for you to type a question. They're designing this from the ground up to be a true, fully autonomous executive assistant. When you map this technology onto a typical American corporate workday, the impact is absolutely staggering. Picture this. By 8 a.m., the new Gemini Daily Briefs agent has automatically collated your unread emails and calendar events, laying out exactly what needs your attention before you even sit down. By noon, information agents that you've set to track specific financial metrics or stock PE ratios automatically surface a customized, highly relevant news briefing. And by 5 p.m., background agents like Remy have already noticed pending email threads and autonomously scheduled the follow-up meetings. You're no longer doing the busy work, guys. You're just reviewing the results. But here's the catch. For any of this to actually feel like magic, it has to be instantaneous. That's why this number, 3, is absolutely critical in the specs. Under the hood, Google has upgraded the Gemma 4 model family to be up to 3 times faster. Think about it. When you have an AI completing a 5-step workflow across multiple apps, you can't afford to sit there watching a loading bar spin. Speed is the absolute bottleneck of the agentic era, and achieving a 3x speed boost, That is just monumental. So how'd they do it? The engineering behind this speed is a highly technical process called multi-token prediction, or MTP. We can make this really easy to understand. Normally, AI generates text one single word at a time, which eats up massive computing power. But with MTP, step 1 uses a tiny, lightning-fast drafter model to predict a whole chunk of words ahead of time. Then step 2 uses the large, incredibly smart main model to instantly verify all those words at once. The result in step 3, a fast, lossless, perfectly accurate output generated in just a fraction of the usual time. It's a real game changer. And this brilliantly illustrates how these agentic capabilities are bleeding right into the everyday tools we already use. Take Ask Google Maps, for example. Instead of just typing in a single address, you can literally just tell it, "Hey, I'm heading home, but I need to get gas, and I really want Mexican food along the way," and it calculates the perfect multi-stop route automatically. Over on macOS, you can hit a function key, tell Gemini to review 5 different files in your Downloads folder, and it condenses them into a drafted email without you ever actually opening those files. Even Google Search is getting agentic coding that generates interactive 3D visualizations, like a working, spinning black hole, right there in the search results. Now, if you want to see the absolute extreme limits of this tech, the sources point to a jaw-dropping number: $1,000. It is wild to realize what was showcased at I/O with Anti-Gravity 2.0. This is a system that lets you spawn multiple sub-agents to work on a single project simultaneously. They literally set these agents loose, and for less than $1,000 worth of compute tokens in under 12 hours, the AI built an entire functioning operating system from scratch and successfully ran the classic video game Doom on it. I mean, no way, right? That is mind-blowing autonomous execution. But hey, the agentic era isn't just about corporate spreadsheets and emails. It is completely redefining creativity. Welcome to the era of prompt to production. We are officially moving away from a world where AI simply generates a single static image and stepping into a highly realistic ecosystem where AI acts as your entire production studio, your crew, and your editing suite. This is dramatically lowering the barrier for incredibly cinematic content creation. It's making everything so highly realistic and easy to understand for everyday creators. The specific tools making this happen are just phenomenal. Dax Live introduces what they're calling vibe editing. Basically, you literally just talk to the document, telling it to merge your raw notes into, say, a horror story format, and it structures the whole thing instantly. No more staring at a blank page. Then there's Flow Studio, an entire video production platform powered by Gemini Omni. Here, you can generate consistent characters, seamlessly swap lighting styles, or add text into the footage in real time. And finally, Flow Music isn't just some basic beat generator. It operates as a full-on AI producer. You can iterate on full cinematic tracks, tweak the lyrics, and remix genres entirely through conversation. Of course, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. With this massive flood of incredibly realistic cinematic AI content, spotting fakes is becoming a huge issue for society. We honestly can't just guess by eye anymore. The tech is too good. That's why the adoption of Synth ID is absolutely critical. If you come across a suspicious video or image now, you can check it instantly. Because Synth ID watermarking is becoming a widely accepted standard, which has even been adopted by OpenAI recently, systems can instantly detect if the media is AI generated. This is a massive step in protecting all of us from scams and deepfakes. Zooming out for a second to the broader Silicon Valley battlefield, the source materials reveal 3 distinct strategies driving this AI arms race. First, you have Google leading the charge with deep workspace integration through their Gemini agents and Remy. Then you have OpenAI striking back hard with GPT 5.5 Instant, focusing heavily on massive user scale and extreme accuracy. And finally, you have Anthropic, quietly preparing an entirely different tool called Orbit, which is specifically targeting the highly complex workflows of developers, project managers, and designers. Speaking of OpenAI, they just made GPT 5.5 Instant the default model for hundreds of millions of users. And this number is exactly why, 52.5. The new model actually produces 52.5% fewer hallucinated claims than its predecessor. When you're talking about high-stakes American fields like medicine, corporate law, and finance, where absolute accuracy is non-negotiable, this massive reduction in errors makes the AI infinitely more reliable. It's now safely usable for critical everyday tasks. But what's really fascinating to me is Anthropic's approach with this unreleased tool called Orbit. Orbit acts as a proactive work radar. Instead of just waiting for you to ask a question, it is constantly pulling data from Slack, GitHub, Figma, Calendar, and Google Drive. Get this, before you even sit down for a project meeting, Orbit has already prepared a customized briefing that summarizes the latest code commits, the design changes, and even the latest Slack arguments. It's literally anticipating your team's needs before you even realize you have them. We are literally standing at the edge of a completely new way of working, a world where technology actively acts for us rather than just passively responding to us. So I want to leave you with this one question to think about. As we officially enter the agentic era, what is the very first part of your daily workflow that you are going to automate? Let me know, comment your thoughts down below. If you found this explainer valuable and easy to understand, please hit that like button and be sure to subscribe for more highly realistic deep dive explainers just like this one. Thanks so much for exploring with me, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.